grandmother used to make rugs, and my mother was a weaver, and my aunt was a weaver. So, and also being born as an Iranian, I grew up with rugs. The first time I crawled on rugs, and I started walking on rugs. And it's something that I learned by osmosis as I grew up. And when I came to New York to pay for my education, I used to work in restoration of antique rugs. That's where I learned to appreciate how these treasures were made. I am the designer, the manufacturer, and I also am the importer. Well, the pattern, I mean, you can start designing any rugs even on an 8 by 11 sheet of paper or in a graph paper, or you can even take a picture and map it to the graph, and that is reprinted or redrawn on a graph paper, which is the size of the rug. So every grid representing a knot in the rug. I get inspiration from my traveling, and I get it from nature and visiting a beautiful place. I remember when I went to Morocco, looking at all these palaces or old architecture. I was so inspired to make rugs, looking at all the carving on the walls, the mosaics and the tiles. And looking at the nature, I get my colors. I think it's very challenging that if you can match a sunset. I mean, imagine you have a sunset in your living room. You can look at it every day, something that reminds you of that. And or looking at a different color of a leaf and be able to bring that into your rug. And these are the inspiration that I get either for designs or for the colors on my rugs. This is a beautiful room, and there is something missing. Beautiful furniture, old antique floor, but it looks naked. I'm going to show you by bringing a rug that has all the colors, but an undertone, and what a magic it does for the room. This is a rug that I designed. My inspiration was an Agra design, and it's a classic rug, and also it's a focal point of the room. Now let's look at other rugs and see how it changes the ambience of the room. As you can see, we brought the garden into the home. It's very summery, very fresh, very casual, and that's the feeling you get when you come to this room. And again, it proves how you can change the ambience of the room with a rug. This beautiful rug was inspired by Renaissance design. As you can see, this tone-on-tone color gives the room more of a modern feeling. And also it works in the room and it makes a focal point. This rug is an Agra inspired by an 18th century Agra Indian design. It's red, gold, beautiful. And the spirit of it is basically nurturing. It's a room that you want to go, and the day that you need to be by yourself, look at the fireplace and to be alone. And that's the spirit of the room. That's what it gives you. Wool is what really makes the rug. Wool is what carries or shows the dye that you're using. So it's important to have a good wool, and of course good dye. A good wool which you preserve the lanolin in that, and you have not chemically treated the wool, so it's going to really give that luminescent quality to it. Every strand of the wool is almost like a piece of glass. I mean, it's just so luminescent and shows the color beautifully. How is a rug made? Well, it depends on the type of a rug. There are different ways of weaving it. There are flat weave rugs, there are pile rugs. So the pile rugs, which is also on the loom, but has a weft and the warp. The technique is knotting every little color in the design, and they go in rows. So, and every row that is finished, it goes on top of it 2 lines of wefts, and then they start another rows of knots and just keep continuing until they finish the rugs. Machine-made rugs, they're not well defined. So if you look at the flower in a machine-made rug, some of them are kind of fuzzy. Versus a hand-knotted rug, it's very well defined around the edges. So it can create more realistic shape of a flower or a leaf in the hand-knotted rug versus the machine rugs. Well, hand-woven rug is the labor of love, and I believe because of that, it's always going to have a resale value. It's a dying art as we go into the future. I'm not afraid of teaching this art, and I would be more than happy to educate, my customers. And I think an educated consumer is the best customer. And I would like to help this dying art, and hopefully I can make it live a few more years if I could do that.